Congratulations on the movie.
Thanks.
When did you realize, the first one was made for not that much money, turns into a huge box office juggernaut. When did you realize the movie was going to be something special?
As soon as Allison Falk and Teresa Espinoza, our choreographers, showed me my first routine. They showed me what they had choreographed and planned for my first routine, which was this silhouette routine with a briefcase and a suit, and they had their Luke, who's one of our other choreographers, walk through my choreography, and I just fell on the ground and started laughing uncontrollably, and I realized, man, this is because when you read the script, you can't read the dance routines. So you read this very dark, kind of expose-ish, like 70s, almost Saturday Night Fever style, drama, and then you see this dance routine, and I mean, you realize there's this whole other side of the film that's really, really hilarious.
Your part in the sequel is bigger, more going on, in my opinion, than the first one.
Sure.
When did you realize the part was going to be getting bigger, and what was your reaction to reading the script the first time?
Yeah, I guess it was when I read the script. I mean, I didn't know what they had planned until I got to read the script. And then Greg and Reid came over to my house, and we sat in the backyard and talked about things and where we were going to go with it. And so I guess it was, my reaction to reading the script was, looked like I had a lot of great stuff to do, and I was just, what other movie is it where you let go of 4 of the main cast members, bump up the spear carriers in the background, and go off and make the sequel? I mean, I can't think of another one. It was I have to give Reid a lot of credit and Greg a lot of credit for giving me a lot of great stuff to do.
What are the chances that the next Magic Mike movie is called Magic Mike 3D and filming in 3D?
If I was a gambling man, I would say odds are we're going 3D.
Well, was there any, because I would imagine 3D is very popular, sure, and it's what gets you into theaters in Asia. 3D, like you have to have your movie in 3D. Was there any talk about doing this one in 3D?
Not that I know of, but I wasn't in on those conversations. Yeah, that's interesting, but also, in Asia, what we find sexy or acceptable culturally is not necessarily what's acceptable culturally over there. So I can say that now that once we finished filming XXL, we started having those conversations about what if we were to go overseas, and what if we were to form a team to liberate the women of the rest of the world. What does that look like, and what would our routines look like?
Well, I was going to say that one of the things, I think the movie works because of the dynamic between the characters, and it feels like these guys are really friends, and they're people that you would want to hang out with, forget about the male entertaining. Was all that dialogue and that sort of camaraderie in the script, and how much is that you guys just being friends and sort of improvising in the moment?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, Reid wrote a great script, and we all brought things individually to it. I think the tragedy that we all agreed about the first film was that we weren't aware of the chemistry between the guys until we were mid filming, or at least started filming the scenes together. But by then the script for part 1 was already minted, done. We're shooting it. So we had, all of us had done a lot of backstory, and we had all of this character prepared for part 1 that never got used and was never seen, but everyone involved with the film was aware of it. So that became, I think, the foundation for building the second movie. So to answer your question, there was a lot of improv, and I think a lot of the big laughs came out of things that we were just kind of improv in the moment, because we do have that type of chemistry and that type of riff, and we know how to get the best out of each other, and really much like a volleyball team, we're kind of setting each other up to spike.
I don't want to ruin the joke, okay, but there is a great moment that involves vampires, like a little riff on that in the movie. Was that scripted or was that in the moment?
That was me. That was me. That was an improv bit of meta theater, I guess, for anybody paying attention or anyone who had been a fan of True Blood. There's kind of there's a wink to the True Blood fan club out there.
Yeah, it got a very good laugh last night at the screening.
Good.
I want to stress the word very good laugh. When I spoke to you at CinemaCon, you mentioned something that I think a lot of people don't know about you. When you first got to LA, you were a bodyguard, which I didn't, because there were like 6 of you, I didn't really get to really follow up, and I wanted to follow up. Can you tell people who you were a bodyguard for and what that experience was like?
Well, in college, while I was going to drama school during the summers, I would bounce at this club called Heaven in Pittsburgh, and I bounced at another club called Metropole. And then when I moved to LA, I had 6 months until Spider-Man started filming, so I had to pay the bills. So I was my first job was working as a bodyguard for Tyrese in San Francisco. And then I worked as a bouncer at a Mexican rock bar. I worked as a door guy at an after-hours club, like this really wild after-hours club called After Hour Power, which was every other Saturday night. It opened at 2:30 in the morning at Hollywood and Vine. And it was, it was all that.
Did you have any crazy experiences working for Tyrese, or is it one of these like you only worked for a little while?
It's just a little while. It was funny, but I don't know if I want to share it.
I don't want you to get you in trouble.
Yeah. Off the record, I'll tell you all about it.
I completely get it. I gotta go, but are you getting ready to film anything?
Yes, I am. But I'm like hours away from closing this deal for a big ass action movie with an unbelievable cast and an unbelievable director who has directed some of the seminal canon action films.
Jesus.
It's going to be great.
Okay. I'm going to leave it there and say congrats on everything.
Thanks, man.